some black again. Jah Rastafari. Lord Sage of the seventh path, Lord of the perfect black. I am here, give thanks. So we're going straight into it, right? Let's continue. This is the second part. We are talking about cloning, astro body. We're talking about the astro body, and we're also talking about dreams, right? So let's continue.
Well, yeah, in the Body Snatchers.
Yeah.
The Body Snatchers was all about killing living beings because when you have a seed and a soul, go back to the old black and white Body Snatcher, go back and look at it. What happened was they would clone the bodies and they would kill the souls. And they couldn't do it all because you're seeing the outer.
So if you saw my previous video, right, you already know who this woman is. This black woman is the creator of the Matrix. She's the one who wrote the script and gave the concept of the Matrix and the movie They Live and the movie The Terminator, right? So this is the woman who wrote the script for these movies and the concept of all these movies that we see the movie industry created. So they stole the script, they stole our patterns, ideas, concept of these movies, and created the movies we have today as the Terminator and the Matrix and everything, right? So let's continue.
Package. So now they can't tell the difference between a clone and a soul. So what do? There's a big crowd gathered around, and somebody's up on top of the building, and they jump off of the building. Well, we're with the living soul. We're going to scream, "Oh my God!" We're going to react. We have emotions because the soul has love, compassion. The other ones will stand there and not do anything or say jump.
So we understand a soul is a living person. A soul inhabits a body, right? Your astral body inhabits the physical body. That makes it a living soul. So somebody without a soul, you would call them a clone because it was not created originally or naturally. They were engineered, right? They were cloned, right? Clone has no soul. It didn't go through the natural process of being created, right?
Jump. Because there's no emotions. Do you understand?
Yeah.
When you look at the old black and white Body Snatchers of Stephen's wife, they got the clones. And look at cloning. Let me teach you what cloning is. Do you know what cloning is? Do you know what it is? Have anyone ever taught you what cloning is?
Well, it's taking a cell, reproducing it, and mimicking a.
Yeah, but do you know how it grows? Let me explain to you.
Okay.
And you go on
Yeah.
you go on YouTube and you look at the 60 Minutes on the horse. What happens is the polo player comes in with some DNA. That's all you need is some DNA, and he gives it to the scientist or the doctor, and the doctor injects the DNA with a syringe into a egg. You take the syringe, you inject that DNA in that egg, you take the egg and you go find a womb, a matrix. If it's a female horse, you put the egg to grow inside of the female horse matrix, her womb. She's a surrogate. And so the horse grows and come out of her, and he's a full-bred clone. It's the same process with the sheep. You take the female sheep, you put that injected DNA in an egg and put it inside of her, you've grown a clone. And also with living beings.
Humans,
You
yeah.
take that's right, the living human beings, you take their DNA, take the syringe, put it in an egg, put it inside of the woman's womb, because this is why God says all those who open up the matrix are mine, because in the matrix, you are giving a soul, a seed. So when you see seedless grapes and seedless oranges and seedless watermelon and seedless everything, they are GMOs that were created by man, living organisms that were created by man, and that's why they said that they didn't have to grow any more former foods. They need the formers because they're
Yes, and these types of food also rob you out of your elements. All the elements that's within you already, all your energy, everything, when you put these soulless foods inside you, it actually rob you out of your nutrients. That's what I call elements. I call nutrients elements. Right? So these soulless foods will actually rob you out of your nutrients, which is really your elements that sustains your physical body, which your astral body inhabits. Alright? So people with no soul are clones. Right? Mankind was created from the original being by way of engineering. Right? By splicing genetics with by splicing human genetics with animal genetics, we create what you have is a hominid. Right? A hominid. The hominids have been found, the fossils have been found all over Africa. Right? This is the reason why or every other race is attaching themselves to Africa because of the hominids. Because keep in mind, scientists came out and mapped the genome, and they realized that the only people that don't have these animal genetics or Neanderthal DNA is the original Africans, right? And hominids are mainly found in Africa. So all these different races are connecting themselves to Africa by way of the hominids because they contain hominid DNA, they contain Neanderthal DNA, right? So they are tracing their ancestry. So their ancestry they are tracing back to is the hominids, right? And they're claiming the hominids are the first beings on planet Earth developing, actually not developing, but evolving into Homo sapiens sapien, which is mankind. Right? That's the whole story behind these types of topics. So I'm going back again to say that actually let's continue, right? Let's continue because we have enough to cover, right?
going to give you these GMOs, genetically modified organisms that has no seed, no soul, they're soulless. And this is what's killing you because it's not real.
The reason why I'm referencing her is because she is the one who actually, I wouldn't say brought the concepts because she was working in the movie industry already. So by working in the movie industry as a young lady growing up, she could actually conjure the ideas of this futuristic next step that we will be going into. So this is why she visualized as a visionary this concept for these movies that we're talking about, the Terminator, They Live, and what's the next one? The Matrix, right? So this is why I'm referencing it to show you that these concepts of cloning and the astral body and dreams, the real concept behind these things is it's a real concept. That's the point I'm trying to get to. It's a real concept. It's a reality. You understand? So people in the world know this, right? The only people that don't know this is the people that are fully controlled, right? Because the world we live in is an illusion. An illusion in the sense of that this world was created off of fictitious stuff, off of manipulating and trickery. You understand? Trickery into trying to be something that they cannot be. You understand? All this is happening just because some people are trying to be something that they cannot be. right? Mankind is trying to be the God that they cannot be, right? The Europeans are trying to be black. They're trying to be the God they cannot be. So in order for them to reach levels that we could naturally possess and be, they are going to create artificial stuff to take them there. They're going to engineer stuff on an artificial level to try and take them to the God level. That's why they're creating all these type of drugs and all these type of drugs off of the original herbs. Because original herbs, which is natural herbs, alkaline herbs, natural herbs, it only means things that was created, that was existing on earth. As the earth produces it, it also helps us to tap into a higher vibration and a higher spiritual level of thinking, even when it comes to actually helping the physical body through its process within the life that we live in, right? So I'm saying all that to say that the reason why I'm highlighting this woman is just to show that this is a common thing. You know, this is this is not no spooky stuff. You understand? This is not no spooky stuff. Spooky stuff is actually reality. And reality is actually spooky. If you understand what I'm saying. Right? Because the people who run the world is the same people who captured the black people from Africa and brought them down to the Western world to actually build the Western world, which these people will be in charge of. These people will be head of all faction of this world that they are enslaving the black people to build, which is the world that we are living in today, where we find people living in the Caribbean islands and we have people living in the Americas, right? And many other different parts. And how did these people fill up the Caribbean islands? They fill up the Caribbean islands, these black people fill up the Caribbean islands by way of sex farms. Because when the slaves were brought down here, they were introduced to sex farms where they will mass produce on a sexual level, where the crackers were mixing and mingling up with them also. You understand? So we have to really understand what is really going on, what is really taking place with us. We really have to wake up. Some of us are halfway up. We gotta go all the way up. You understand? We gotta be fully woken up. We gotta be fully up. You understand? Because we gotta understand what's really going on. To become the one, you gotta be totally consciously. You gotta be totally conscious. Right? Not halfway conscious or almost there. We're gonna be totally conscious to become the one, to become the Christ figure, to become that super being. Right? Christ. That's why we are following Christ and we're trying to be like Christ. We're trying to be the one. Because the one make himself many. Right? The clone. You see what they get the example of clones. Where the one becomes many. But the one could become many on a natural level, but the system that we're living in, they're creating clones, they're creating one, they're creating many out of one on a synthetic level, on an unnatural level. Right? But the one we know as the creator that created all things made himself many. That's why we are here as sons and daughters of that creator. You understand? So everything that is done on a natural level, mankind is duplicating that on a synthetic level, on an unnatural level. So that's what's really taking place, right? So let's continue, right?
Yes.
Now let's go back to the cloning. The horse is grown in the womb, comes out like a real baby, grows up, but this is the difference. All the clones, it's 100 and some horses, And this is something very important that you need to understand. When it's a copy, because that's what a clone is, a copy of the original source. And all of them, they have different patches on them. They're not identical. They may have a white patch of the horse on its head, it may have it on its leg, it may have it on its butt. But this is one thing that when you see clones, say it's 10 of the horses, they're all in the field and they're feeding. Well, when one looks over here, all of them look to the right. When one looks to the left, all of them look to the left. When one does something, all of them mimic. And you got to see this because you're very intelligent.
Is that because
man.
the mind of you've split the mind?
All right, let's go into all right, let's continue.
This original soul.
I want to touch on something, but let's continue.
Well, they have no soul. A clone has no soul.
But
it's
whatever
a copy.
whatever the mind works from, in whatever's external to 3D, there must be a link.
The mind is nothing but spirit. Listen, let me break down.
Okay, what's the difference
God's
between
children.
the difference between spirit and soul?
Let me break down the 3D. Let's go to the reason why.
We're 12-dimensional beings, yeah?
Yeah, well, no, we're 3-dimensional beings, and God's children are 3D. And let me explain why they're 3-dimensional beings. Because the mother eats from the earth, from the dirt of the earth, and it goes inside of her womb. And her womb is water, so we're hybrids. We are of the air, and we are of the water. And we're eating from the dirt of the earth to create our bodies. So when this is at the first 10 weeks, you're nothing but blood, water, and spirit. There's a spirit waiting in the astral form, waiting to occupy that body that the mother.
So we see that there is a seen universe and the unseen universe, right? Just like the seen universe has its mechanism of things, how things work, the astral level has its mechanism of things, how it works. And it also has different galaxies, different dimensions within it, where it's specifically for different happenings, just like she's explaining, where the astral body will be actually waiting to inhabit that physical that is in the woman's womb at the 12th week, at the 12th week of growth, right? That's when the astral body will be ready to inhabit that physical that is growing within the woman's egg, within the woman's womb. You understand? So we see that the universe, the unseen universe, has its mechanism which is in charge of the afterlife, which is in charge of the spiritual world, right? Just like we have, we do things to aid us on the physical level. So we see the spiritual and the physical is always interconnected, they're always connected. The physical brain is connected to the mind. And the mind is connected to the spiritual, and spiritual is connected to the soul, which is a light beam, which is a light. The soul is a light, soul, a light source. The astral body is a light source. The soul is a light source. The light source that manifests itself into the physical that we see, which is the body. Right? The sun shines and it gives life to the earth. Right? And it gives life to the plants, and the plants give life to fruits. And the fruits, we eat the fruits to grow our bodies. So it's all light source. We are eating light. Right? Because when you're eating the foods, the elements that grows the food is light. Light comes from the sun, right? Soul, it's a solar rays. It's your soul. Your soul is a light source. It's different levels of light. The auroras are different levels of light. Understand? When you die, your soul leaves your body. It's your astral body. This is your light body that inhabits and gives function and gives light to the physical body. You understand? So let's continue.
It's creating.
Yeah.
Now, this is where the abortion becomes illegal, and they don't teach you this.
Yeah, this is really, very crucial. Yeah.
Very crucial. Listen to me very carefully. For the first 11 weeks, it's like a period. It's blood, water, and spirit. You can't destroy spirit because it's an astral form. It's a shadow. Like in the Matrix, it's called a virtual.
Like I said a while ago, the brain is the physical, the mind is something you cannot see. It's part of the astral. And the mind is connected to the spirit. That's the next concept within the astral. And the spirit is connected to the soul. It's the next concept within the astral. It's all light, right? In different aspects. It's like you have protons, neutrons, or you have electrons, or you have neutrons. You understand? All this is different light particles in different aspects, intermingling with one another to create vibrations into physical matter. You understand? It's all interconnected. Like I said a while ago, the sun shines light and grows the food. So the elements within the food grows on light. So when we're eating the natural foods, we are actually eating light, which is an element, The wind that blows is actually life. But we perceive it as, they call it air, but it's actually life. Life is all around us. Energy is all around us. You understand? Let's continue.
Image, because I introduced the first virtual images to you guys. And so it's a shadow. And you saw their virtual images running up and down the telephone line while their physical bodies were asleep in the ship. Now let's go back to the mother. The astral body is waiting to be born in the body. Now at 12 weeks, the soul comes and attach. Here's the astral body. Here's the physical body that takes 36 weeks. And
now what she's explaining that all these things are happening is in the unphysical realm, in the realm we cannot see. You understand? So what she's saying to just to add what she's saying, that even when somebody dies, and you know that they always talk about that light, that when you die, that you see that light, a tunnel, and that the light that you have to, that draws to you, or you draw to the light. This is the light that leads to the astral world, right? The astral plane, right? Your astral body will gravitate, or it's like a magnet, right? Because everything is magnetic, right? Because keep in mind, the Earth magnetic force, right? We are also the Earth magnetic force. We attract and we repel, just like a magnet, right? So even in an astral form, a light form, we have these same magnetic force that is pulling us within these realms, just like the black hole, and a black hole sucks everything in. It's the same magnetic force that pulls and repels. You understand? So we learn that this light leads you to the astral realm where you will be recycled to go into a continuity of reincarnation. Right? So there are the mechanism within these realms where whoever that is in control of these different sections within these realms will guide you along and place you in whatever position that you need to be in. So everything is working automatically, naturally. You understand? Everything is working automatically on a natural level, where everything has its accordance, right? So when you die, you have the process that happens and what takes place. But we know sometimes things doesn't always go as it's supposed to, right? So we see the astral world is a very real place. It's a very real place because when we dream, we all have experienced our dreams and see certain things manifest in a reality where we could see and we could say, yes, I've dreamt this and this is from my dream. And I've experienced this. I've seen this before. I've been here before. I've been in this situation before. And when you try and trace it back, you realize that you have dreamt of these things. So this makes us to realize that we could actually see into the future and have experiences within our dream and later manifest it in the physical, because the spiritual always comes first before you have the actual physical. Spirit always comes first. Yet still they are working hand in hand. You understand? Everything that is physical has to come from the spiritual to be physical. You understand? So yes. So what the white folks, the crackers and them are doing right now, right? We as the original people, as black people is the original people, black man and woman is the original people, we have lost our way to tap into these levels naturally. So while mankind, which is different from the original man and woman, while they don't have the ability to tap into these realms naturally, they will study us and realize the functions of what's taking place, right? And mimic these functions, right? And create synthetic functions so they themselves will experience these levels also. Because this is one of the reasons that they are mad at us and they want to kill us and use us at the same time, because they don't have the abilities that we have. And they are feeding us bad food, bad drinks, bad everything to block all our unique powers that the black man and black woman possesses within the body that we live. And if we understand the body that we live, we have, our body is designed to live forever. Right? And I'm going to explain this in one of my upcoming videos to show that where the body not supposed to die. Right? And we're supposed to live forever and ever. Right? And I'm going to explain this in my upcoming video. All this is very simple mathematics. It's very simple mathematics, right? Don't make the Caucasians fool you and make you think that mathematics is all it's all hard to figure out, and you gotta be a super genius to figure out math equations. You understand? Mathematical equations. So yeah, so let's continue, right? So
9 months, and here's the soul that attaches to the body. Now the astral body is there because it's the shadow, the virtue. It's there. It's what you call the mind. Okay. It's there. But the soul is the living energy that comes from the source, which is God, which is life. And it attaches to that body. Now that life is in that body now. So when a doctor performs an abortion at 12 weeks, He's killing a living soul because life is attached.
And it also
And let me add this too, right? Let me add this too. Even when somebody dies, and the doctor pronounces somebody's dead, that person is not totally dead. Maybe the lungs have stopped working or the heart has stopped working, but there is other parts in the body that is still alive. Right? And if we know the science, we could actually get this person back in living mode if we know how to actually get these parts to actually start working again by performing some rituals or some type of science. But we have lost all these types of science. You understand? How to actually get somebody that has considered to be dead back alive again, but then they're not really dead because death is a slow process. Every function of the body doesn't die right away. You understand? Even though your heart may be stopped or your lungs is not working, there are other organs that is trying to survive. There are cells that are looking for ways to continue surviving because the body was not designed to die. Just like when you have a plant, right? There are some plants you try to kill it, right? And it still happen to survive because it's forever trying to survive. It's forever trying to look for life. You understand? It's the same thing.
also
That means
damages
that
it
baby
damages
is
the
ready
soul.
to come out.
It damages the soul when it wants to then try and live again.
Well, he destroyed the soul from coming in to do its job. Because an abortion, you're taking the stem cells from the baby's bodies that you're killing with the abortions, and you're using these stem cells. When a person can use their own stem.
So what she's saying now, when you destroy that growth in the womb, before or after, right? You're causing harm, right? Because if you destroy it before, there's not going to be any medium for the astral body to actually get into, right? And if you destroy it after, there still ain't going to be a body for the astral body to inhabit. So where is it going to go? Right? Where it's going to go. So there is mechanism in process, right? For all these things, right? This is why we have things like ghosts and paranormal activities, because the way people are being killed, right? People are being killed so fast that they are being killed faster than the process could actually take time to happen. Because everything takes time to happen. Everything is a process. And not everything is as fast as the other. Right? So, when you kill somebody very quickly, right? That soul could be trapped within this, between the physical and the astral realm, not knowing where it is, because it was killed too fast to actually go through the process it's supposed to go to. So you actually stop the process from taking place by the level of death, right? Because there's 6 million ways to die. So the Caucasians and them are formulating and creating many different ways to die, right? So this throws everything out of bounds, out of wax. Because really and truly, our ancestors were never afraid of death. We understood the concept of death and all these things, right? It's just mankind that was introduced to the world, you know? They're the ones that was fascinated with death because they were not original to the earth. So this fascinated them and they wondered what happened when you died and all these type of things. But the original people knew the concept of death. They knew what went on and the recycle of life, and they knew life continues, nothing dies. You cannot destroy energy, right? Because a living flesh is actually a ghost in the flesh, because your soul is a ghost. It's the same thing. It's a light. What's a ghost? It's a light is the image of a physical flesh in a light form. So it's a light source. A light source inhabits the body and gives the body life. So when you lose the body, the ghost goes somewhere, right? The astral body goes to the mechanism that it needs to go to get to where it needs to go to, because there's no more body, physical body for it to inhabit. So it needs to go in the realm that it is required to go. It's the process of life. So we are all living souls living in the physical. You understand? So some people, we hear these things and we come to the realization that's happening. Now they're going to tell you that we don't need the body. You understand? So the physical and the spiritual go hand in hand. You need the physical, you need the spiritual. So don't think because you get enlightenment and you get to know that there is a spiritual that you gotta just choose the spiritual and forget about the physical. No. The spiritual and the physical go hand in hand. And when we become the one, when we become the Christ-like, we have the ability to actually take ourselves from the physical, detach ourselves from the physical at will. You understand? At will. When we become the one, the Christ figure. Right? And we saw this in the movie that I played in the first part, right? And I stopped on this scene right here. The movie Doctor Strange, right? Where they explain this on a simplest level for us to understand, right? Because these crackers, right? They have brainwashed us for so long. At this point, they could show us any truth, right? And right now, they're actually selling the truth. They are putting the truth in hieroglyphic forms, which is movies today for us, right? They are putting the truth in hieroglyphic form, drawings and cartoons and all these type of things, and movies. Listen, because the concept of movies really comes from the hieroglyphics, which is on the walls of Kemet, the pyramids, right? Because the writings and the pictures on the walls of Kemet tells a story. It draws a picture. And where do we watch pictures? We watch pictures in cinemas, right? Movies, they call them movies, so it's the same thing. Right? That's where they get the idea from. So this is still being done. The Europeans are still sharing information in that same way. You understand? It's the same thing. So this is the pictures on the walls being brought to us in movie format, where we could watch on television screen or on our laptop, on our tablet, right? So we must not take these movies for granted. These crackers have brainwashed us for so long that they could show us truth, they could sell truth to us and make millions and millions of dollars off of the truth in the fashions of movies and fairy tales and storybooks and folklore and all these things, right? Yeah. So let's continue, right? That's why I stopped on this movie scene right here on my first video, so I'm going to go back to that, right?
Well, no, not anymore, surely. Isn't that why you're here? You've undergone many procedures. 7, right?
Thank you, Ancient One, for seeing.
Now keep in mind, you're calling her the Ancient One, right? For anybody who has seen this movie, Doctor Strange. He has gone to seek the Ancient One because he was in an accident and he's looking for ways to cure his hands or his fingers, right? So they have brought him to a guru or this Ancient One. Keep in mind, Ancient One. When you become the One, the Christ figure, just like we see in the movie The Matrix, Neo, the One. Neo is really the word one, which they just change it around, change the letters around to make the word Neo. But it's still, it is the word one, as it refers to Neo as the One. In the movie, he's the Christ figure that has left the physical world, which is in destruction and hell, and went to the astral level and become the One, the Christ figure. But the way Neo became one in the Matrix movie as a Christ figure, he used synthetic stuff. It was engineered. He used mechanics. He used technology to reach the astral realm to become the One. But what I'm telling you now, to become the one, we could do all these things naturally by way of our chakras, our 7 chakras, and these outbursts of energy. And when we tap into nature energy now, we'll be describing this in a moment, right? So I don't want to elaborate too much on it before we get to the actual, I'm going ahead of myself, you understand? So I don't want to say too much one time, because I got to go through this rest of these videos to explain this to you. So it's the same thing, the one. So in Doctor Strange, they're still talking about the ancient one, right? And it goes back to the Christ concept, right? So don't think the Europeans created the Christ concept or they created that all-powerful one concept. We all know it's the creator concept because we all see the world that we live in and we all could see that there is a higher power that is in control of everything, that gives birth to everything that is and give life to everything that is. They have a source, right? And this source is the same black man and woman, right? And we are not a break off, but we are a continuation of that source, right? So the creator is also man and woman, right? Because we are the continuation of that creator expressing ourselves, right? So that's why we all are trying to get back to the main source, which is the creator of all life, source. You understand? So when you on the path of becoming the one, this is the type of things that you will learn, and we're going to see the levels that she has reached, right? In these movies that they're displaying, right?
You're very welcome. Thank you, Master Morda. Thank you, Master Hamir.
Did you heal a man named Pangborn who paralyzed
In a way,
you helped him to walk again?
yes. When you reattach a severed nerve, is it you who heals it back together or the body?
It's the cells.
And the cells are only programmed to put themselves back together in very specific ways.
Right.
So what she's telling him now, right? When your cells are working and performing, she's literally telling him that it could be programmed, although the cells are programmed to work according to what they're supposed to do in the body. What he's saying, there is an overseer over all these elements within the body, where the astral body, the spirit, could control all these elements of the physical body. So though the cells and everything and molecules have their work and they go according to the work and operating upon the frequency, and it looks like they are doing it on their own, it's actually the spirit level that is in giving all life to these elements that within your body that is working, seems to be working in its own. It's the astral level that is giving life. It's the soul, it's the light that is giving light to the physical to produce more light. You understand? So every part of you could be controlled through the spiritual level, because before you get physical, you was once in the spiritual. So it's still interconnected. We only have to know how to tap back into these dimensions within our body. Right?
What if I told you that your own body could be convinced to put itself back together in all sorts of ways?
How did you correct a complete C7, C8 spinal cord injury?
Well, I didn't correct it. He couldn't walk. I convinced him that he could.
You see, the thing is that people today, they only watch things on a physical level, and the thing there is only, things can only be done on a physical level, but they have no idea about the spiritual level. So it's hard for them to conceive the possibility of the spiritual level when it has to do with the physical, right? I'm going to pause for. So yes, I'm black again, right? So let's continue, right?
I know how to reorient the spirit to better heal the body.
Spirit to heal the body. Spent my last dollar getting here on my ticket, and you're talking to me about healing through relief. All right, how do we do that? Where do we start?
Don't like that one? That one.
Showing me an MRI scan. Do not believe this.
What about this one?
Acupuncture, right?
Each of those maps was drawn up by someone who could see in part, but not the whole.
We are made of matter, nothing more. Just another tiny, momentary speck within a different universe.
You're a man looking at the world through a keyhole. You spent your whole life trying to widen that keyhole, to see more, to know more. And now, on hearing that it can be widened in ways you can't imagine, you reject the possibility. Open your eyes.
Now, actually, I don't know if they skipped, but it's supposed to have the part where she makes him leave his soul, right? Makes him leave his body. It seems it's
What is real? What mysteries lie beyond the reach of your senses?
So, basically, she touches. There's supposed to be a scene in this movie, right? Where she kicks his soul out of his body, right? Right here, right? So she kicks his soul out of the body. So I was saying, when you become the one, right, and you have mastered certain levels, this is the type of things that you'll be able to do, right? You have mastered how to actually take your astral body out of your physical willingly. And when you have mastered to do these things willingly on yourself, then you could actually kick somebody's soul, not kick, but, actually push somebody's soul, astral soul, out of the physical. You understand? And this is what we are seeing, right? This is when you become the one. Remember, she is the ancient one in this particular movie, right? Just like we have the movie Matrix, and we have the character Neo, which becomes the one, right? So, we're going back, all right? So, let me go back.
Open your eyes. What is real?
Like this scene is cut up. They have edited this scene, but what I would explain is that when your third eye is open, you actually go into the dream state. When we go to sleep, like I said before, you're entering the dream state where your pineal gland is being worked, right? You're entering the spiritual realm, right? Sorry about that noise, I don't know where it's coming from. So you have entered the spiritual realm, and you're having dreams beyond your wildest imaginations, right? So when she touched his first eye, you understand, which is his first eye, the pineal gland is the first eye, and then you have the two eyes in your forehead, right? So when she touched his first eye, he went into a dream state, right? And we all have dreams that we could fly. Some of us have dreamed that you could fly. You dream that you have had dreams where you're doing how should I say superhero stuff, right? That's like we see the superheroes in the movie today. We have dreams that we're doing superhero stuff, right? And we have all had dreams like this, right? Some of us have dreams just based on the earth. Some of us have left the earth and went to the atmosphere amongst the clouds and fly amongst the clouds. Some of us have left the clouds and went into outer space. It's how far we have went into our dreams, right? Depending on how high your vibration vibrates, it will take you to deeper dimensions. But she is actually doing all this manually so that he could experience this world, while being in his physical, while awake, right? So she has mastered the level of the spiritual realm. So she could actually send somebody to the spiritual realm and give them an example of what's taking place. So that's exactly what we are seeing in this scene right here.
What mysteries lie beyond?
So yeah, he's going through all the galaxies, he's seeing all the outbursts of light, all the outbursts of energy like I explained in the previous videos. All this is new neurons, neutrons, electrons, you know, all the light particles clashing with one another, all light particles in different levels. We are seeing different color spectrums in the light. Same thing we see in the auroras. You understand? Same thing we see in the crystals that is embedded within the earth. We are seeing all different color shaped crystals crystallize. Is same auroras on a solid aspect, which is a crystal, which is the same plasma. Right? The aurora is the same plasma. Right? It's all interconnected. You understand? It's all interconnected. But all this is the next subject. But I'm just expressing it so we could get examples, right?
On the reach of your senses. Mind and matter.
And we all have had dreams, right? Where you have you not have a dream that you were falling from a building or you're falling from wherever? It was like so real that you could actually feel that something is passing inside of you, right? It's the same experience he's having here. It's the same experience, so you could see it's the same thing. It's a reality. It's a dream world. The dream world is a reality. It's not no thing that is not real. It's real. You understand? This is why you sweat and you do all these type of things when you after having a nightmare or some type of dream that scared you. This is why you just jump out from a dream and thank God it's just a dream. But in fact, it was a reality. It was a, you know, so we could see in our future, like I explained. Things take place in the spiritual before it occur in the physical. That's where they get the concept of prophecies. You understand? So I don't want to be too long-winded, right?
His heart rate is getting dangerously high.
So even going further now to explain the chakras, because we gotta move on, right? We gotta move on.
Hey, you said you could teach me to gain control of the avatar state. How?
You must gain balance within yourself before you can bring balance to the world. And the first step to gaining balance begins with this. Drink up.
Ugh! It tastes like onion and banana juice.
That's because it is.
Now the reason why it's onion and banana juice is to indicate that your first step on reaching these levels, you have to change your diet. Your diet must be plant-based. It must be light source. Like I explained, the sun gives light to the plant. The plant feeds on light to give to actually have life, and gets its elements within itself to actually give to you when you ingest it, when you eat it. So you're eating light source, right? In the mechanism of a plant, which gives it to you in the right way that your body could absorb it. So you yourself could be a higher development of a light source. You understand? So this is why he's telling him this in this scene right here.
Yum, yum. In order to master the avatar state, you must open all the chakras. And tell me everything you know about chakras.
What are chakras?
Oh, I see. I guess we'll start with the basics. The water flows through this creek much like the energy flows through your body. As you see, there are several pools where the water swirls around before flowing on. These pools are like our chakras.
So chakras are pools of spiraling energy in our bodies?
Exactly. If nothing else were around, this creek would flow pure and clear. However, life is messy, and things tend to fall in the creek. And then what happens?
The creek can't flow?
Yes, but if we open the paths between the pools,
The energy flows.
there are 7 chakras that go up the body. Each pool of energy has a purpose and can be blocked by a specific kind of emotional muck. Be warned. Opening the chakras is an intense experience, and once you begin this process, you cannot stop until all 7 are open. Are you ready?
I'll do whatever it takes.
First, we will open the Earth Chakra, located at the base of the spine. It deals with survival and is blocked by fear. What are you most afraid of? Let your fears become clear to you.
So we see that these 7 chakras, right? They are outbursts of energy, like I said. Right? Neurons, electrons, outbursts of light, which is energy, right? And these 7 chakras are governed by these 7 characteristics that comes to us emotionally, right? Whether it's sexual, emotion, or whatever have you. We know about these emotions that we have. So we gotta conquer all these emotions to actually get balance of our 7 chakras, right? So these chakras also, when you master these chakras now, these chakras are also governed by nature elements. You could actually produce, you could channel the energy within the chakra points, 7 chakra points. Each is governed by a certain emotion, and each is also linked to element of nature, which is earth, air, fire, wind, you know the rest, right? And by harnessing these energies, we could turn things into matter, right? This is the God level. This is the one. When you have become the one, when you have become the Christ, you could actually conjure energy with a hand sign, with a chant or prayer, and turn this light source into matter, whether it's water, earth, air. You understand? The list goes on. So we know about the 5 elements, right? So this is to be the one, to be creating things out of the physical, from the spiritual into the physical, right? So so if a hand sign, with a chant, you could actually draw out energy from any one of these 7 chakras, where, for whatever reason, it's up to you which one you want to draw it from. If you want to draw from all of them, or to bring out a certain element, whatever the case is. But the point is, I could draw when you have become the one, or you have become master of the chakra and know how to send your body out of, take your astral body out of your physical by on will. You could do all these things and manifest things on a physical level from light, right?
I know that this match is over for you. You are right. It is over. One way or another. That it's Sasuke. And I am not going to be the only one to lose here. Yari Sensei, please let this work. It is now or never!
To protect and maintain one's own ninja way.
Why is it fun, right?
Okay, so then how many of the inner gates is he able to open now?
5 gates.
Okay, what exactly are these 8 inner gates you're talking about? And the hidden lotus?
The 8 gates are like valves, or chakra limiters that must be opened if one is to release the hidden lotus.
I'm still not following.
There are gates along the chakra network, located at those points in the body where the chakra is most heavily concentrated. Starting at the head, they are the gate of opening, the gate of rest, of life, of pain, of closing, of joy, of shock, and the gate of death.
Now, all these points, right? There are chakra points all over your body, but there are 7 main chakras, but in this case, there's 8, right? So, but the point is that from these chakra points, energy could be drawn from these chakra points based on meditation and vibration and hand sign and a chant to actually manifest things on the physical level, right? On the physical level. So
these are what are called the 8 inner gates. Their purpose is to limit the flow of chakra through the body, but the lotus exerts tremendous pressure on these limiters, eventually forcing the gates open. This releases the restraints on the chakra, the result being that a person's strength can be increased 10-fold or more.
The primary lotus opens only the first gate, the gate of opening, releasing the brain's restraints on the lungs, freeing a person to bring forth its body's strength to its full extent. You see the results. Oh no, not yet.
The 4th gate! Gate of pain! Open!
No one could do that through sheer effort alone. The boy's truly a genius.
So we see when you become the one, right? There are things that you could do beyond your normal capabilities, right? When you have become the one, when you have become the Christ, when you have mastered yourself, right? When you have mastered yourself, right? And when you master yourself now, it starts with meditation. So we're seeing he has made clones of himself, right? When you have mastered yourself on these types of levels, there's ways we could do these things naturally. This is why God, the Creator, made himself many. We are sons and daughters of the Creator. We have made ourselves many, right? We all come from the same light source, the same darkness, melanin, right? The carbon, right? This is a light source, right? So, but Babylon are doing these things synthetically. They are doing these things unnaturally with their cloning on the microscopes and test tubes and all different technology that they're using to do these things, right? Now when you have learned to gather nature energy now, nature energy, right? You get in tune with nature, right? When you gather nature energy, you get in tune with nature, right? And you could relate to nature, right? You could relate to the trees, you could relate to the animals, you could relate to every living thing, and you could harness their energy, right? You could harness their energy, right? So if you want to fly, you can fly. If you want to, because we are the gods over all the animals. So whatever the animals could do, you as a god could do all these things without being an animal to do all these things. We don't have to be an animal to fly. We don't have to be an animal to do what they are doing. Certain great things that we see they're doing, like flying and all these things that will look like you have superpowers, right? We could do all these things. We don't have to put ourselves in an animal state to do all these things. When you know about connecting to nature, trying to become the one on all these aspects, all these levels, right? On all these levels.
At last. Welcome you. As you no doubt have guessed, I am Morpheus.
It's an honor to meet you.
No. The honor is mine. Please, come, sit. I imagine that right now you're feeling a bit like Alice. Tumbling down the rabbit hole.
You can say that.
I can see it in your eyes. You have the look of a man who accepts what he sees because he is expecting to wake up. Ironically, this is not far from the truth. Do you believe in fate?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't like the idea that I'm not in control of my life.
I know exactly what you mean. Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad.
Yes, because we know there is something wrong with the world that we're living in. And what that is wrong with the world is that this world that we're living in is not a real world. This world or the idea came from the crackers, the people who slaved the black people and brought them to the Western world. And they used the black people because they were the only people that had a high culture. They used us to build or develop a world for them. And by them enslaving us to do that for them, and they being the ones in charge of this world, and they are in charge of all subjects of life, they are the foundation of all subjects of life in this world they have used us to build. And we happen to stay in that same world that they enslave us to build, and we are learning from them all the fabrications they have laid as foundation of truth. We're learning all these things from them and not realizing that we were stolen from Africa and brought down here to create this world that they are rulers of. So we know something is going on, but we cannot grasp what's really going on. We think that when the Creator created everything, that this is where He placed us, and this is the world that we're supposed to be living in, and this is the reality. We have no idea the systematic life that we're living. There are different realities, there are different ways of living on earth. You understand? The whole money system thing, the whole economics thing, and the whole thing. There's different ways to live, right? So although we see something is fishy, something is wrong, because the world cannot be like this, but we just cannot seem to grasp what's going on, right?
It is this feeling that has brought you to me. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The Matrix.
Do you want to know what it is? The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window, or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
What truth?
That you are a slave, Neo.
That's the truth. That's the truth. That's the truth that we're trying to run away from. We're running away from the realization that we are still in bondage. You were born into bondage, as you could see, it is written right here. We are still in bondage. We have become comfortable in bondage with all these glittering lights and all these things that they are creating to blind us and keep us controlled in this illusion world, that they are using us as a resource and killing us at the same time, because they want to take our position on planet Earth. So we gotta become the one. We gotta get ourselves unplugged and become the one and develop all these things that I went through before I get to this point in this video. You know, about the chakra alignments and the spiritual and the physical, knowing the different concepts.
Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind.
So we could plainly see that after the shackles and chain came off, it was placed in our minds. So we are brainwashed, so we don't need any more shackles and no chain. Right? Because the first slaves, they had shackles and chain. And they would have never continued like we are continuing now. Because they weren't born as slaves. The first slave, they was not born as slaves. They were captured and stolen and brought to slavery. But the people who occupy the world today, they were born as slaves because of the sex farms. So there's a big difference. So that's why we still remain as a slave today, and we think that this is the place that the Creator placed us, and we are comfortable in the world that they have created for us by using us to create it. You understand? So we have to wake up. We gotta get unplugged. Some people don't want to get unplugged because they might die on the spot. Some people might get a heart attack. Some people might throw up.
You have to see it for yourself.
So, you know, we're going to continue and, you know, give thanks, you know. This is Lord Sage, Sage of the Seventh Path, Lord of the Perfect Black. I am here. Give thanks.
Speak with me, walk with me, freak with me, talk with me, frequently, oftenly outlined in chalk with 3 holes in your jaw. You see your life is flashing before you so morbidly. Walk in the store with C4 in your knapsack and ransack the grocery, only hoping that I will get over discrepancy. I cannot ignore my enemy, gently present them directly to penalty. Colors are flashing, your mind is relaxing, your body is tingly all over like you were just mastering yoga. Mastering Buddhism. Food is not all that you need to survive, cause the air has the nutrients due to pollution. And still all the radiation causes fusion. Liquids and toxins and chemicals boxed in a spherical object, compacted and locked in for hundreds of years. Looky here. proton bells. 2020 is actually the 2012. What the year's been changed, yet that shouldn't seem strange, cause they changed the time. Daylight savings, change your mind. Day and night cravings, changed it from 13 months to 12. Every 4 years is a leap year. What the hell? Wake up from the dream spell. You don't have a clue. You're not thinking your thoughts are thinking you. Not only God knows how long it takes for matter to explode, evolving in space until it's a globe. More than 7 days, I know. If one day to God is a trillion to us, when he said let there be light, the Big Bang erupts. There you have it, no need to thank me. Evolution and creation are both the same thing. Command the universe and the universe will obey you. You are the God you are waiting for to save you. Command the universe and the universe will obey you. You are the gods you are waiting for to save you. Command the universe and the universe will obey you. You are the gods you are waiting for to save you. I don't know what is happening to me. I don't know what is happening to me.